I grew up in Malaysia. The work ethic was drilled into me. I went to Zhonghua, independent Chinese school in Malaysia, in KL. So I think the work ethic was drilled into me. So it's not really a challenge, but it's more, it takes effort and it takes a lot of care to make those videos.
You're listening to Foodie Canteen. I'm your host, Castle Lim. And in this podcast, I'm sitting down with Southeast Asia's leaders, entrepreneurs, and content creators in the F&B space. In this podcast, you will learn about their trade secrets, or you'll just find them as your next door neighbor. This episode is brought to you by GrabMart. Our listeners can now get up to 30% off on promotional items and an additional 20% off when you use promo code HOTDEALS when ordering from the Klang Valley, or HOTDEALS GM when ordering from outside of Klang Valley on GrabMart. Jom, order online, T&Cs apply.
Today on the show, we have a very special guest. His jokes and persona have placed Malaysia on the map. Stick around to find out more. Hi Nigel, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We're so happy that you're here, but I can't wait to dive into your thought process behind the creation of Uncle Roger. But first, tell us, what were you doing before all of this fame?
I was a stand-up comedian. I went full-time 6 months before the pandemic hit. But before I went full-time stand-up comedy, I was doing stand-up comedy part-time, maybe like 4 or 5 nights a week, and then working part-time as a data scientist at a company here in London.
So you've been in the comedy scene for about 9 years now. What made you want to do comedy in the first place?
It's about 10 years now. I started in 2011, and I was in university in the US. I joined this sketch group to start, and I realized, this is kind of fun. Doing comedy is kind of fun. And then when the sketch group, that season ended, I just decided to do my own thing and do stand up by myself. And it's just been very rewarding, and it's a fun little hobby to start, and then gradually just became more and more serious.
I mean, from data scientist to a full-time stand-up comedian, that all happened 6 months before the pandemic. How did you know you wanted to go full on? Did you had a tough time deciding? Did you consult your family or friends?
No. I mean, if you consult a family, they'll tell you to not do it, right?
Yeah.
So I just realized I'm young enough to be able to mess it up, and it'll still be okay. I don't have any dependents. I don't have a house or a child or whatever. So if I mess it up, it's still all just me, right? So and I realized I need to give this a shot, because I think it was a calculated risk. I was already quite decent at stand-up, making okay money, not a lot, but enough to survive on, and dip into savings every now and then. So I was like, okay, let's give this a shot, a proper shot for a year or two, and see where this takes me.
Yeah. So did you give yourself like a time limit? Like if you don't get to this place by what age, you'll go back to your data scientist job?
Probably by mid-30s, maybe 3 years, 33, 34. Then it's like, okay, it's time to, I gave this a shot. It didn't work. Time to go back to my old job. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the development of Uncle Roger. It was a personal challenge that you wanted to come up with a character for your social media. Then you thought about what you saw in the Malaysia coffee shops, this middle-aged man. Then came the BBC fried rice video. I mean, talk about the right timing. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, it was. I guess the timing was amazing. Yes, I did want to do a character for my social media, so I was just thinking, like, what kind of character can I do? And then through the podcast, I kind of riffed and came up with this Uncle Roger type character. It's middle-aged Asian/Malaysian uncle who just complains about everything and thinks he's better than other people, a know-it-all type of uncle, But ultimately, still kind on the inside. So I did a few little short TikToks with that character. It went viral, and then I realized, people like this. And then a fan of the podcast sent me that BBC food egg fried rice video. And I was like, this is hilarious. I would have commented on it as myself. But I had the Uncle Roger character knocking about. So I was like, yeah, let's try to do Uncle Roger reacting to this video. Doing a reaction video wasn't new to me. So I had all the skills. I know how to edit. I know how to set up the cameras. And it all just came together. And yeah, I created this wonderful thing.
Yeah, so you didn't see this coming, right? Going viral and whatnot. I mean, right now it has about 23 million views on YouTube or something.
Yeah, it's around 23 now. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So after it went viral, did you immediately know what you wanted to do next? Like, oh, let's churn out more content so I keep the attention span of these people who's already watching me and watching Uncle Roger.
Yeah, I think that was the main instinct. I needed to keep pumping out the content as Uncle Roger. People like it, give them what they like, right? As a content creator. And I really enjoy doing it. So I just kept making the videos. And I still am making the videos. And it's been almost a year now. Maybe I went viral in July of last year. And we're recording this in June. So it's almost been a year. And people are still watching the videos. So I'm very grateful, and yeah, that's the goal for now, to keep making those videos among my other projects too.
Yeah. I mean, right now you are basically producing a weekly 12 to 15 minute short on YouTube. What's the process
Yeah.
like? Is it still challenging for you?
Every video is slightly different, I guess. Even if it's a reaction video, I try to do like small new things in there. It's not a challenge. I just have to put in the work. It's not really a challenge, but keeping up the work ethic, keeping a consistent schedule, working hard, and sometimes I have to work on Saturdays even.
So,
But I grew. I don't know. I grew up in Malaysia. The work ethic was drilled into me. I went to Zhonghua, independent Chinese school in Malaysia, in KL. So I think the work ethic was drilled into me. So it's not really a challenge, but it's more. It takes effort, and it takes a lot of care to make those videos.
so do you think stand-up has really helped you in making these contents now? It's not a live audience anymore, but everything is moved online in this pandemic.
Stand up definitely helps. You get to feel. You develop an instinct for what jokes are funny, and you learn how to write. You learn how to perform. So all those skills really help. But instead of doing it in front of an audience, you're doing it in front of a camera. So that's the only difference. But I think everything in stand up really helped me.
I see. So how do you think growing up in Malaysia and the times you have spent in the US and the UK has helped you in creating this content, or perhaps even helping you to become a better content creator?
It's just different life experience, right? So growing up in Malaysia, I think I spent most of my life there, 20 years of my life. So you pick up a lot of like you grow up there, you're normal, and then you come to the West and everything's different. So a lot of my humor comes from that, the contrast, the differences between Asia and the Western world. And some things people do better in the West, some things people do better in Malaysia, and food is definitely one of those things. We're all very proud of our food. Very patriotic about our food, right? That's what everybody misses when they leave Malaysia to go abroad. And in the West, food isn't as people don't take as much care, and they don't value food as much. So coming from Malaysia to here, I think food will be a big sticking point you'll notice, especially in the UK, where food is just like it's not great. It's very sad. It's very grim. They buy cold sandwiches from pharmacies. Even though they're like bankers and they make a lot of money, and they still buy like cold sandwiches, and it's very depressing. So that's something you notice. And then a lot of my comedy stems from that. I think comedy comes from your life experience, right? So the more life experience you have, the better. And then what you have to figure out is how to translate your worldview to other people, because not everybody's been able to live in different countries when they grew up. So I like it. I like it. It helps me know how to reach the West people in the West and people in the East as well.
Yeah, actually, I just watched your video yesterday about you commenting on case cooking, and I see how you did with, like, before you reveal the video, you're like, hey, this is just a comedy video, like, don't go and provide hate comments or something along those lines, and you were like clarifying before you go into the video.
Yeah, I think that's the responsible thing to do, right? And I think these videos they're supposed to be comedy videos. And sure, Uncle Roger's personality, he likes roasting people and insulting people, but I do it, there are some jokes. I write jokes for it. It's not just me attacking them. And there's some substance, in the sense that I actually know how to make the dish, and the food commentary is pretty spot on, I like to think. So that's why I always try to say, don't go attack people, even though they mess up the food. It's supposed to be fun. Just watch it, laugh, move on.
So how do you think? Yeah, how do you think your content has evolved from last year? It's been a year now, like you said. Has it changed, and how do you cater to different audiences? You have fans in Malaysia, you have fans in the UK, and all over the world.
Has it changed? I don't know. Has it? I think maybe like the editing's gotten better. My delivery's gotten better, but nothing beats the very, very first fried rice video, because of it was new, it was organic, it was raw. I didn't do too much preparation for it. And now the effort that goes into every video is a little bit higher now. There's more effort in the writing, there's more effort in the editing. But you can't just coast off. I don't think I can just keep recreating the very, very first video. People get sick of it. You need to evolve and have some substance, and people come back to see more. How I've evolved, it's hard to say. Maybe the editing's better, the lighting's better, the filming's better. Everything's like slightly better, hopefully. And hopefully I can keep growing like that, find out new ideas. I've been trying new things as well, filming outdoors, filming, doing a reaction video with somebody else. That's coming this weekend. I'm filming a reaction video with Liz from May, who I've collaborated with on the fried rice video. So I'm doing a reaction video with two people, having two cameras instead of one camera. So little things like that. I'm interested in the whole filming process too. So I try to, find ways to make my work better.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about something here. We used to be so ashamed of our accent. At least that's the case for me when I was younger. I'm afraid to speak to my Caucasian cousins because I'm a bit insecure of my accent not sounding white or American enough. But Uncle Roger has brought this accent to the world stage. How do you feel about that?
I think, we all have accents back in Malaysia. And even now, even though I've lived abroad so long, I don't sound exactly like a British person or an American person, and they hear me, they can say, oh, they can tell that there's a bit of Asianness in there. Then, you just can't help it, right? So you just have to be unapologetic about it and own it. And sure, sometimes it helps if you lighten the accent a little bit because it helps people understand you better. And if you can do that, great. In a corporate environment, it's always good to, in a work environment, it's always good to be, comprehensible. But if you can't do it, then it's fine. It's just an accent. People should just get over it, and people should focus more on things you're saying as opposed to how you say it, as opposed to what accent you say it with, I think.
That was Nigel Ng. You are listening to Foodie Canteen, and we will be right back after a short break. I kid you not, but sometimes it's nice to stay in all day and have my groceries and home essentials sent to my doorstep. I get mine delivered through GrabMart. You can now get up to 30% off on promotional items and an additional 20% off when you use promo code HOTDEALS when ordering from the Klang Valley, or HOTDEALS GM when ordering from outside of Klang Valley. Jom, order online with GrabMart. T&Cs apply.
What we see now is a very successful version of a character, Uncle Roger. And the question is, how do you execute this imagination at its best?
Well, I don't know, with a lot of practice, at its best. What is its best? Have I made a video that's, its best? I really don't know. It's a tough question. I'll just keep working hard and making videos that I enjoy personally. Because if I enjoy the video, then I can put it out there without any guilt. I'll put it out there thinking I enjoyed this. If nobody watches it, who cares? I enjoy making it. I enjoy the output. I think it looks good. It's funny. So at its best, I think with a lot of practice, trying to work with other people, from a YouTube side, keeping yourself current, keeping yourself on with the trends, collabing with other YouTubers. But, for bigger projects, maybe learn how to just keep learning new skills and developing yourself as a creator.
I mean, do you set a standard for yourself? Like you said, you don't know what is the best. Is it determined by the audience, the likes, the number of views, or it's like a threshold that you kind of measure yourself against?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think that half of it would be like your instinct. Is this good? I only want to put out things that I think are good, right? And then the other half is it's everything else. It's like how much did the audience, if it's stand up, then it's how much did the audience laugh? Did they like it? Did they clap for it, or how did they respond to this routine? For YouTube, the likes, the views, the comments, they all count towards something. But I think the main focus should be on like how you feel about it.
I mean, right now you said you've been 10 years in comedy and stand-up realm, and it's been a year now you're making contents on YouTube. What have you learned so far? Is there a lesson that you're like hit you in the face?
I've been making YouTube videos for maybe 2 years now, 2 or 3 years now. Yeah, 2 years. Lesson, I think just do it the best you can, because YouTube, the videos stay online forever, and there are certain parts where I feel like, I could have spent a bit more time on this, little, not a lot. It happens occasionally, but I feel like every video you put out, like, make it the best video you can make at a time with your skill set. Uh, Lessons, I don't know. It's a really tough business. I got very lucky, so I think it'd be quite pretentious of me to come say like, "Oh, do this, and you too can, get a lot of subscribers."
Yeah.
So I really don't know. I think you just do the best you can, and don't bank on it. Try to keep the day job and do it as a hobby, and until you realize, oh, I can make a little bit of money from this, then take that calculated risk, and don't just jump all in, because you might get burnt out. You might be frustrated with the lack of progress. In as a little frame of reference, I was working on YouTube for a year and a half, and I was still at like 8,000 subscribers.
Right.
And then Uncle Roger blew up, brought me to this number now, like a few million. But I was working for a year and a half, and I was at 8,000 subscribers. So it's very easy to be disheartened.
As an entertainer and comedian, you make people laugh all the time. The question is, are you happy all the time?
Nobody's happy all the time. I'm happy most of the time, right? I'm pretty content, and I think things are going okay, and I hope it keeps going this way. But even if they're not, I think you find ways to cope with it.
I mean,
Mental health is important, so take care of yourself and all those cliche sayings. But yeah, I'm not happy all the time, but I'm happy most of the time. I think that's pretty good. Don't try to be happy all the time. You come across like a crazy person. Just laughing and smiling all the time. No, nobody wants that. So just be happy sometimes. That's enough. That's enough.
Oh, I love that. Just be happy sometimes. I mean, because
Yeah.
social media portray as like, oh, we have to be positive all the time, and like regardless of the circumstances.
People hate you. I hate those people. You like those people? Nobody likes the positive people.
I don't know. You try to just lie to yourself, like, oh, just be jolly whenever whatever that happens, and like Malaysia is going through a lockdown after a year again, and you're like trying to stay positive, but like what you said, just be happy sometimes.
Don't stop following the influencers. There's too many KOLs out there in Malaysia, especially like peddling this like positive nonsense. It's like, enough. I know they're trying to be they're trying to be positive because they're plugging some sort of like brand of sunglasses or something, I know. So it's all fake.
So how do you cope with stress? What do you do?
That's what hobbies are for, right? You kind of pick up a hobby. Mine is eating out, restaurants, bars, reading, gym. Gym's not really a hobby, really. It's more something I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, stress. Just find some hobbies. Hang out with friends, chill out. Find some ways you can unwind from the day. Every job will have stress, so I think that's part of being an adult, right? You have to learn how to deal with it and not let it affect you too much. I used to have trouble sleeping sometimes, every now and then. Not anymore, because now my schedule is quite flexible. If I can't fall asleep, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll just do some work and then go back to sleep later.
Yeah.
But when I had a day job, I think I was very stressed, and I had trouble sleeping sometimes. But you just have to realize, oh, I'm putting too much on my plate, and do less. Do
you have any tips for content creators who are listening in continue to create fun and engaging contents that have a longevity, I would say?
Ooh, that's very tough. It depends on the type of content you're making. It depends on what your personality is. I don't think being like a full-time content creator, I don't think it's for everybody. I have a lot of friends, and I've worked a day job before, and the stability in that aspect is quite nice. The safety net is quite good. I don't think being a content creator is for everybody, but I do think everybody can make videos. So I think don't expect too much from it. Just make it because you like making them, and make sure it's fun. Once it stops being fun, then I think it's time to reevaluate. And I don't know. It really depends what kind of content you want to make. If you're a funny guy, then try to make every video as funny as possible. If you're like a fashion vlogger, then I don't know what's a good fashion vlog. Try on a lot of clothing, or try on a haul.
Like haul, yeah. That's what they do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends. Let's see what your peers are doing. See what the people in your niche are doing, and then see if there's anything you can learn from them.
So what do you usually do when you have a writer's block? I mean, every content creators, sometimes they encounter a writer's block. What do you do when it comes after you?
Well, I always try to have a backlog of ideas. So if I don't have an idea, I just go to the list of like the backlog of ideas, and then I just pick one from there. So that ensures that I keep having content. But when it comes to writer's block, it's a tough one. I don't really know. I just try not to stress about it. I guess I if I get it, I realize, okay, that's fine. If I don't have any new ideas, it'll come. You just relax a bit. Let me continue working on the old ideas, that kind of thing. So I'll say when you have a lot of ideas coming, save them, write them down somewhere. So when writer's block hits you have like a list of ideas you can go revisit.
So what's next for you, for Uncle Roger, for Nigel?
Uncle Roger, I'll keep making the YouTube videos. That's one. Hopefully there'll be some bigger projects coming. I'm in talks with some people. Nothing's confirmed yet, so I don't want to reveal anything yet. Hopefully some bigger projects will come, starring Uncle Roger or starring me. I don't know yet. I'm going back to stand up as well. Starting a tour later this year in the UK, and then it will expand out to international countries. So in Malaysia, of course, Malaysia, Singapore, everywhere. And then that's maybe next year. We'll see, depending on the pandemic and everything. But yeah, maybe a book in the future, and I have a podcast too, so that's gonna keep going. So everything really, I try to dabble in everything.
Wow, that's so exciting. I mean, that's so much more you can do coming ahead of you. And thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story with us.
Of course, no worries. This was fun.
You have just listened to Foodie Canteen. This episode is brought to you by GrabMart. Special thanks to Nigel for sharing his story. This show is produced by me, your host, Castle Lim, and co-written by Mei Rui Kwa. Foodie Canteen is made possible by the excellent team at Good Foodie Media. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Foodie Canteen for more. And follow us for brand new episodes every Friday. Thanks for listening.